Hello ladies, it's Monday again, and this week we are talking about the first 7 chapters in An Abundance of Catherines. I am really excited to be rereading this book. I've tried to reread it like at least once, maybe twice before, and then I just got sidetracked and had to put it down. When I first read Looking for Alaska, An Abundance of Catherines, and Paper Towns, An Abundance of Catherines was my favorite out of those 3. I'm going to be interested to see if that holds up this time around. The first thing I want to talk about today is Colin's mom. I'm sorry, she is just absolutely the most obnoxious person in the whole world. Listen to this. "Of course, sweetie," his mom said, "we'll be here all day. You just come down whenever you want and we love you and you're so, so special, Colin, and you can't possibly let this girl make you think otherwise because you were the most magnificent, brilliant boy." And right then, the most special, magnificent, brilliant boy bolted into his bathroom and puked his guts out. An explosion, sort of. Well, yeah, I'd throw up too if my mom talked to me like that. Good Lord, no wonder Colin is screwed up. I always find it interesting how different authors write parents. And of course they don't always write them the same because, you know, different characters have different parents which affect them differently and whatever. But I cannot stand Colin's parents, particularly his mom. I just want to like smack her or something. I'm sorry. One thing that I found interesting when I was reading our section for today was the way I picture Lindsay and Colin in my head. And I guess this kind of goes along with what John always talks about how books belong to their readers. I don't picture Lindsay and Colin really the way that John describes them in the book. When I read their descriptions in here, I was surprised because, you know, in the last 4 years or whatever since I last read this book, when I think about it, I picture Lindsay and Colin in my head and they don't match up with the way that John describes them in the book. I picture Lindsay with like this little button nose or whatever, and she has a long nose in the book, and I just picture her as like tiny all the way around, and John says she has puffy cheeks and whatever. And I just cannot picture Colin with a Jufro. Like, I don't know why, I just can't. Colin has straight hair in my imagination, which I think, you know, is probably okay. Books belong to their readers, and certainly we put our own spin on the characters based on our own life experiences, and I think a lot of times we kind of take somebody that maybe we know in real life and project them onto a character that they remind us of. But I just think it's interesting. Some characters I picture exactly like they're described, and some pictures I don't picture much or even at all like the author describes them. The last thing I want to talk about for today is just another facet of the brilliance of John Green. In Looking for Alaska, we had such an interesting idea with the way the story was structured, with the before and the after. In this book, I love that it's a novel that is largely based on like higher mathematical concepts, and I think it's hilarious and fascinating. Now, I realize some people don't like math as much as I do. I really, really enjoyed math up through Algebra 2, and I was still pretty good at math up into trig, even though I didn't like it very much. Calculus is where I start to kind of lose it. But I come from a family of mathematicians and math teachers, as well as teachers of other subjects. But math jokes abound in my family, at family reunions and just dinner and whatever. And I like numbers, and I don't like graphs very much, but I really like how they're used in An Abundance of Catherines, and I just think it's brilliant the way John wrote this book largely based on math. And I think it's kind of inspiring that he did it that way, even though he himself says he's not very good at math. And of course we know that we have resident nerdfightarian mathematician Daniel Biss, who wrote the afterword in this book, or the appendix I guess, that explains all of the really heavy math involved in the story. But I just find that really interesting, and I really want my dad to read this book because of the math involved, and he will eventually. He's got like a zillion books stacked up on his bedside table to read. But at any rate, yay math. That's all I have for today. I look forward to seeing what everybody else has to say this week. I hope you all have a great time, and Jess, I'll see you on Wednesday at LeakyCon. Woo! Everybody else, I'll see you on the internet.